Yourself?
Anthony, great to see you, man. How you doing?
You going to Leonard Skinner by yourself?
Yes, but by the time you out there watching, I would have seen Leonard Skinner and ZZ Top performing together. Only thing more exciting than that, Anthony, is us talking about the brand new Gaylord coming in Chula Vista. Watch out for
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to No Vacancy Live, special recorded edition for you today. I'm Glenn Hausman. That's Anthony Melchiori. Thanks for spending time with us today. Anthony, you know, we've been following this project since its inception. Well, not since its inception. I'm not sure I was born when the idea of this project came along, but definitely since it started construction. And one of our friends has been, been really integral in it. So I think we're going to get an update on that today. And of course,
well, not only one of our friends, but the biggest friend of the industry that every single person I ever meet knows. So yeah.
Yes. All right. So let's get right into this. We got two great guests for you guys today. First, the incredible aforementioned Mr. Mike Stengel, and then introducing the general manager of the Gaylord Pacific Resort in Chula Vista, coming at us next year, Scott Siebert. Scott, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Wow. How super exciting. I got so many questions I want to ask of you, but Mike, why don't you tee up what's going on right now? With this?
Well, first of all, I'd like to go to that concert with you tonight, man. That sounds they're two of my most favorite bands.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So things have really taken off at the Gaylord Pacific. I mean, we've had an unbelievable team of construction out there. In the last couple, you said you were not born when it started. Well, that's not quite right. It was only about 15 years ago that we actually started working on this project, but it really is coming together. The construction team has done an unbelievable job. We're actually on budget. And I'm going to let Scott talk a little bit about the details of the resort. And we put on LinkedIn every week a drone video that goes around the hotel, and you can see the progress. But so Scott, who I've known, I actually hired Scott with Marriott in 1988. So he told me he was going to get this job in 1988, and he's been waiting ever since. But Anthony, he started at Desert Springs with me. And has worked at some really spectacular products in Marriott, and has a great food and beverage background, which you need in these big box hotels. And people just think that it's easy to find people to run this kind of product, but it's not. It's very difficult, and you need a certain background with a lot of food and beverage background. And so Scott brings that to the table. He was at Desert Springs. He opened the JW Star Pass. He was at the Eden Rock. He was at JW San Antonio. He was the area general manager in Charlotte for a while. And then, in talking to him over the years, I said, if you want to be a GM in Gaylord, you got to come over into the hotel manager's job. So he came over to Opryland and did an outstanding job for a few years there. And when this opening came, he was the best, most qualified person for the job. So we just brought him online about 3 months ago, and he's beginning to build his team, and it's going to be a great hotel. So that's Scott Siebert right there.
Awesome. Scott, so you are entrusted with operating a property that's going to have 1,600 rooms, including 89 suites, close to 500,000 square feet of meeting and event space, 10 plus restaurants, 4.25 acre water park, all of these kinds of things. So Mike, you're right. You need to have a lot of experience. And for you out there who aren't familiar with it, think Las Vegas mega resort, just without the casino. It's essentially the same thing. Scott, what's it like getting this kind of gig?
Well, number one, I'm forever indebted to Mike, and he reminds me of that quite regularly. So appreciate the opportunity, Mike. No, it's amazing. I pinch myself every day that I have this opportunity, and I've worked my butt off to get here and having this great hotel. Opryland is the largest non-gaming hotel in the world, and that was my prep for this hotel. But it's fantastic. Chula Vista has been waiting for this. The product, Marriott's been involved since 2004, but there's been plans for this project for over 50 years in some way, shape, or form. probably wasn't a hotel at that time. But man, I'm just super excited to be here, and love Chula Vista. It is amazing.
Anthony?
But just for people who don't know, before we get into it, do we have slides, Glenn?
No, we do not.
Okay, so before we get into it, is this so people understand that don't understand, is this a franchise or is this a Marriott managed hotel?
Marriott managed.
Oh, okay. So you basically work, so the owners hired Marriott to brand it and run it, and you work for Marriott.
Yeah, well, yes. At a project like this, I work for both the owners and Marriott. I have a vested interest to make sure the owners are getting there. So yeah, ultimately I work for Marriott, but it's probably a 50-50 relationship.
Right.
Yeah, and any good GM would say that, right?
Yeah.
And Anthony, on LinkedIn, they post every week a video, a fly around video with a drone that you can see the actual building live.
So Glenn,
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, but I haven't been able to find it yet. But I'm working on it.
Okay, you work on it. So, Scott, what is the one thing that attracted you to this job? When you were going through the interview process, what was the things like, okay, now I will kill 3 people for this job?
I was actually 4, but so for me, my grandfather owned a small hotel in Florida, and I used to work there on the weekends and hang out with my granddad. And I got in this business at Desert Spring with Mike. My goal was to be the best food and beverage director in our company, and I probably came in number 2 to Mike himself. And then, really wanted to be on the biggest stage. That's what you get in these hotels for. This is, working at a 1,600 room hotel that's going to do an incredible amount of revenue. This is the top 1% of hospitality industry, and I wanted to be on the big stage. I wanted the big responsibility, and that's what drove me to this. I mean, this is what my whole 36 years career has been leading up to. So that's what drove me.
And let's now that I've got it, watch this smooth transition. Now let's see what that 36-year career is leading up to. Here we go. Feel free to explain what's going on, Scott.
So you work right now on the right is the convention center. When you're coming around on this side, the top 6 rooms are presidential suites, the top 8 penthouse.
Balconies.
You have a lazy river. You have a wave pool. You have our one atrium. Most of the Gaylords have several atriums. We focus on the beauty of Chula Vista area here. So we have a lot of outdoor space, but that's our main atrium, front desk. It's our marketplace. And then the 1,600 rooms in front. Then we have a sports bar, 3-meal restaurant on that side, and you're flipping around, and we have 3 levels of meeting space, 30,000 square feet, then breakout rooms and another 30,000 square feet. And on you can see the convention center roof here. It's 150,000 square feet of space, beautiful mountain views, beautiful ocean and bay views. And the front drive comes right through on the left there, and there's a beautiful park that's built all the way and around the front for the public to come into. But just a spectacular project. It's got a lot of native landscaping. It's going to be amazing.
So let me ask you a question from hotel guy to hotel guys. Where are you putting the other hotel in a year?
Right across the street.
Yeah, right across the street.
It's so we're bound by the authorities in this particular place. We can never expand this hotel. That's why we went up so high with the building. But just over here in the right corner under where it says no vacancy live, right onto the right over there is a hotel site for a 350 room hotel. And then right next to that is 1,000 living quarters being developed by another developer of condos and shops and restaurants and stuff too.
It's called Amaro Bay, 1,100 condos with mixed-use retail space. There's going to be several. This is really the anchor to the whole development of the South Bay, San Diego.
And if you look to the right here, you'll see there's one of the largest marinas in Southern California, just to the right, which we will work closely with the hotel and using that marina for customer events.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Unbelievable. And the reason I asked that is because this thing is going to get so successful. There's always got to be a backup plan for another hotel. And as this gets built, what are there other things around it that you can build? Are there any other amusements or other water parks, or what's the 5-year, 10-year plan?
Well, so where you can see on the right where there's a little tent, the white tent there, that whole area from that up towards the main part of the city, there's going to be some mixed use retail, potentially some restaurants. There's also going to be a couple of select service hotels built reasonably close, but there's going to be a lot of residential areas. But the marina is going to be eventually redone, mixed use retail space. They're going to actually build at some point. The city's going to put a sand beach out in front of the Bay Area there. So a lot of things are growing around this hotel. This is really, again, the anchor to the full South Bay development project.
Could you ever put gambling there or no?
There is a gambling casino about a mile away, Indian gambling casino, but we wouldn't put gambling on this particular site, nor I don't think it's zoned to do that. But just to the left of the building was also, there's an actuary with
I'm going to bring that up again.
With a bicycle path that goes all the way down to San Diego. Right there see that right corner there, those big boats on the right side of the hotel. That's where your yacht is, Anthony, getting repaired. That's like Bill Gates brings his yacht there, and you and other guys bring their yachts there. But it's really kind of cool to see.
And you know what? Do you know what the name of my yacht's called?
Glenn Hausman.
How'd you know?
But that area is the boat.
I swear to God, that was what I was going to say. You're the best.
Yeah, Scott.
Big boat repair area. Then over to the right of that, there's a federally protected wetlands, and they have the Living Coast, which is a wildlife preserve. You can go in and take your family, look at the different animals, and like Mike said, there's a bike trail that goes from that area all the way around to Coronado. So it's about a 70-mile trek on the bike. Wow. It's beautiful. So a lot of great opportunities for our guests to go. There's a natural park being built over there that will be open again about the same time the hotel opens. So a great opportunity for families to go over to the Living Coast, take bike rides, really enjoy this beautiful bayfront property.
How far are you from that hotel with the beautiful roof?
I'm about a minute away from there right now.
Oh, wow.
So, Anthony, right out in the bay, across the bay, that was Coronado Island across the bay.
Let me go back to that.
Yeah, so we're equally, this hotel is positioned, if you look all the way in the right-hand corner, that's downtown San Diego. Then the bridge over to Coronado, that's Coronado Island. And so it's about 15 minutes to Coronado Island. It's about 15 minutes to the border. And I don't know if you guys know, but the Tijuana airport has a international terminal that lands and you walk into the U.S., which is a really good international customers to be able to arrive. And it's about the same distance from the San Diego airport. And then inland, you're looking at the downtown Chula Vista, which is a really authentic, brings you back in the years to really cool, lots of ethnic restaurants. And also behind that is the mountains. And if you go over those mountains, you'll be in Palm Springs.
Wow.
If I remember right, music and venues at the pool is going to be big, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 5 pools. We have a wave pool, a family pool, a kid pool, an adult pool. And the best thing about it is we have a beautiful restaurant for our family pool. The restaurant kitchen is bigger than most restaurants of some of my 3-meal all-day restaurants. And then we have a smaller adult area, an adult pool, private pool, and we have our own bar and restaurant there just to service the adult pool. So we have an abundance of food and beverage options to serve all these beautiful guests that'll be out there. Again, it's going to be spectacular.
So how many employees will you have?
We'll open with about 800 to 1,000, probably stabilize around 12 to 1,400. Then when we do our ICE program in December of 26 for the first time, we'll probably pick up an additional 200 or so associates.
Right. Yeah, and the ICE program is a big feature for the holiday season for Gaylord hotels. Scott, I want to ask you, what are you doing this week? Because I'm curious as to what point of the evolution of your job and the property you're at. So what are some of the things that you're thinking about now, still like 7-8 months from open?
So we're in the crux of, I think, the fun part. This is the 4th hotel I've opened, and I'm in the middle of hiring my executive committee right now. So that's probably the most important thing. This is a talent game and to find the right people. So we've just hired a food and beverage director, just hired a director of human resources, just hired our director of engineering, and currently interviewing for executive chef role so I can start working on the menu development. I've got a director of event management. So these are unbelievable jobs, to come in and be the event person that directs 500,000 square feet of meeting spaces is phenomenal. Then we fill in all those positions from there. And right before this call, I just got off a call with the folks that are helping with our OS&E, our operating supplies and equipment.
Yep.
And we're ordering about $15 million worth of China glass, silver, heaters for the pool, all the little nuances that you don't think about. negotiating parking contracts, laundry contracts. And that's just in the last couple hours this morning.
Yeah, right.
So Glenn, if you ever really want to get overwhelmed, just spend a day being in charge of ordering the OS&E.
Oh my
I can't even imagine. I have a friend that was head of procurement for opening Fontainebleau, so I can imagine.
So people think it's like, well, a mattress is maybe $700, $800, $900, but you have to buy a lot of them.
Right. I mean, we're ordering everything from mattresses to linen to plungers for the toilets to the engineering tools to tubes for the pool to everything you can imagine. Smokers.
So in finding people, how many people that you bring on your executive committee have Marriott experience? All of them or some of them?
Some of them. Our food and beverage director does not have any Marriott experience. It's hard when Marriott's got a lot of great people, but there's not a lot of hotels that have the size and volume of a hotel like this. So we source from all over. We're looking, at the big Marriott hotels. We're looking at Las Vegas. We're looking at Hawaii. We're looking at other big convention resorts. Our director of engineering is from Marriott. Our direct human resources is from Marriott. Our food and beverage director is not. But it's, we're looking to find the best people.
One of the things that is interesting about this building, this is going to be, when it opens, Marriott just opens its 9,000th hotel last week, but this will be the most expensive hotel that Marriott ever built at $1.3 billion, and at $1.3 billion, and then it will also be the first hotel in Marriott, and its first full year of operation will have the highest sales of any hotel that ever opened in the company. And they have more room nights on the books than any other hotel. And you may have heard me say this about the Rockies a few years ago, but they're going to outdo the Rockies when it comes to.
So let me ask you a question, Scott, because Mike keeps threatening retirement. Do you have a front desk position available for him?
I certainly do, man. I actually do. Mike would be really great in stewarding. I remember one of the first experiences I had with Mike. We were in the back banquet kitchen, and he dumped a trash can over and pulled out 2 forks and told me I was wasting his retirement money, and I better figure out how to get the forks out of the trash can.
Hey, Mike, I mean this with all due respect. You suck at this retirement thing.
I tried, Anthony. I tried.
For me, I'm so thankful to have this hotel and have the gentleman that hired for me, that was the vice president of Gaylord Hotel, be a mentor while we're going through this process. It's amazing. You need it takes a village to build a place like this. We have great ownership, incredible construction partners, and then having Mike here, it can be a blessing and a curse, but overall it's a blessing.
So when you say Marriott built the hotel, I just want people that, again, don't know the business as well. Marriott, is there any ownership from Marriott, or is Marriott the brand and the management company?
So the way it works, Tony, is that so Rita Development is the owners of the hotel. When we bought the brand, we bought several locations, Rockies being one location, this being another location, and we partnered with Rita to make sure that this hotel got off the ground. This was a very, very difficult hotel to get off the ground. Almost 15 years when I was working with Marriott, we were working on this, and in the last 3 years I've been working on it. But Marriott has an interest in the building. The Rita and his company has a major interest in the building. There's a pretty large capital stack, but overall, this was jointly designed and developed by Marriott and Rita. And Marriott approves all those ways it goes. And now that I work for Rita, I'm on the other side of the fence, working with them and helping them make sure that Marriott gives them all that they need to do this. And we really have a great partnership.
And the reason I ask that is because a lot of projects get built, maybe not with Marriott, but when it's this big, every hand on deck. That capital stack, like you said, is probably huge and very complicated. The hardest thing to do is the capital stack, and most people think the hardest thing to do is all your OS&E.
Well, the reason it got done is Rita has an unbelievable reputation in the financial world. Ira Mitzner and with Ira and Marriott going in hand, and the times are not great for this kind of money to be out there, right? But they secured this money several years ago, and it's really been a godsend that our partners have been with us all the way, and they're very pleased that the process and very excited to see it open.
Yeah, Rita is a fantastic ownership group, and I love working with them and Mike and Ira and team. It's amazing partnership.
Did you hire a director of revenue yet?
Yeah, great director of finance. I have a director of revenue management. She's amazing. She was a cluster area person. She's amazing. And then we hired a director of finance from San Francisco. So we've got 2 great money people managing the process.
You can't have a director of sales and marketing without having the director of revenue right the next day. Otherwise, they'll book something you'll regret.
Right. But remember in the day where the director of revenue was the reservations manager, and then he pointed into the director of sales and marketing, and they made less money than everybody, and now they're the biggest players in the hotel usually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Scott, at what point do you start marketing to typical travelers, leisure travelers, business travelers, not the group business, which of course you already have a whole lot of that secured?
So we have all the domain names for this hotel on all the social media platforms. We will start taking transient room reservations in December. So we'll start really marketing up probably in November for that. But it's if you come locally down here, it's the talk of San Diego, talk of Southern California. It's the first thing like this has been built on the California coast in the last 25 years. So it's pretty amazing.
And we'll be the last. No one will ever do this again.
No.
And there's very few locations, just generally speaking, that you could create this sort of demand driver in a particular location. So it's exciting.
Where's the rate falling? Just generally, you don't have to give me what your target average rate is, but what is kind of in the high season? Do you even know your rates yet, or you're still?
They've got to have negotiated some already, right?
So the group rates, Anthony, are at the top of the Gaylord chain.
Right.
And then the transient rate will be pretty aggressive in this marketplace. San Diego is a very aggressive leisure transient demand. There's 30 or 40 million people within 2 hours of this place. So there will be a strong demand that will push those leisure rates to be pretty strong.
So Glenn, when I asked the question, right?
Yeah.
I gave him an out to answer it exactly like that. You basically put him in a lane, say, well, you negotiated corporate rates already. You don't do that because he's not going to give me the rate. So I gave him an out, and he answered it perfectly.
When I say they negotiated rates, I'm sure that different customers have different rates based on group sizes and dates.
Just want to let Mike from ownership answer that question.
I like that, Scott. Yeah, this is why you get this job, because you know when to not talk, right?
So the activation on this is huge. Do you have like an entertainment director or an entertainment person focused on the activation?
We will have a director of special events that will be focused on the activations and the ICE program. I can see Mike Kitchen there. Mike, you want to?
Yeah. So what happens, Anthony, is we're not going to do the holiday shows because we're opening in a stub year. So it's too much to put on this hotel when you're opening in September, and then you got ICE in November. So we'll do some holiday programming that first year, and then go full-fledged in the next year. But what the director of special events does is brings all of that entertainment and works with the food and beverage director and the revenue leader and the general manager to make sure that they're providing enough content for them to be able to market it to the leisure transient customer. It has a really wonderful water park. It will be a great place for holidays and weekend events for locals. We're pretty excited about the opportunities that this building is going to present. There's a few of the artist renderings. That's the lobby on the left.
Really, really good.
Do you have any rooms? You have any room photos?
I think we do, don't they? On there,
we should have there, but
these are the only ones here. These are the only ones at this that I see right here.
Yeah. So the guest room looks.
Let me go to the full gallery.
Yeah, the guest room looks like California.
Yeah, the theme is endless summer. It looks kind of like a modern beach bungalow.
Yeah, so there's you can see the guest rooms all have great big windows looking out to the water. Huge televisions. What size TVs are in all those rooms?
65-inch.
65-inch every room. So you have your own movie theater.
That is beautiful.
The normal guest rooms, they have the headboards are made to look at, they're driftwood, and in the walls they're designed so that it looks like there's slats of wood. So it's really the modern, endless summer, a little bit of mid-century vibe, the way some of the furnishings are shaped, the tables, teardrops, and things like that. The artwork is very whimsical.
Yeah. And when you do a lift like this and as much money's been spent, it's got to open pretty busy. And how, again, for people that don't really understand how it works, how much does Bonvoy really play in getting your customer into that hotel?
Well, it's a big part of the business. And Anthony, what I've told Scott is, you saw that guy run the Olympics for 10 seconds in 100-yard dash. That's what it's like on day one, because there's going to be lines of cars coming out the driveway that want to come in. People have been waiting so long to see this place that we have to be ready with our game in every single restaurant and bar 100% day one. When we do the soft opening, we'll probably open just a percentage of the guest rooms, and then over the next couple of weeks, we'll open more until we get to the grand opening.
And this is why, when you look at the capital stack, you look at banks, and having someone at your level, for as long as you've been doing it, then having that absolute just unbelievable database of Bonvoy, and having the Marriott brand, and then having Scott that knows the brand and knows how everything works. Like, so many owners get it wrong, and because I don't want to upfront this kind of money, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to bring in a brand. This is at the top level, highest level. When everything works, it works. But any one of these components, bad general manager, not a good consultant, bad brand, not a good program, and this tanks fast. And we've seen it. And I won't mention the hotels, but we've seen it.
Yeah, and Bonvoy is an extremely important part of the success of this. I don't remember the number, but Marriott has like millions of members that live within a few hours of this place, and everybody wants to give it a try. And so we think this will probably be one of the top redemption hotels in Southern California, which means people will be getting their points and using them to stay here, get exposure to the building,
and which really, really helps the ownership, because I don't want to bore with that'll be another podcast of how that works. but that's so a lot of people I know buy hotels based on well, are they in a market where I can get a lot of redemption because it works.
We open up May 15th for transient, and we stair step up, and we're booking groups for June 15th, so we're booking groups a month in.
Yeah, could you imagine?
When do you open?
May 15th.
May 15th. Okay, Glenn, this is the one time where we are going to be there for opening.
Oh, absolutely.
I would love to do that. And I also want to hang out in this bar when it opens.
Oh, that's Cask and Crown. That's our speakeasy. It's a 50 speakeasy. It's inside you go in the sports bar, which is a 26,000 square foot sports bar, and you go into this little area, and there's an iron plate freezer door, and there's a little watermark on there, and you go and you have to know the password, you get in, and that's where the high-end craft cocktails. We're going to get a glass of Pappy, maybe a glass of Opus One, have a really quality experience, which we can use for our closing room, for our VIP customers, for whatever we want. It's a private area just inside the sports bar. Pretty amazing.
That's pretty clever. Yeah. Looking throughout all of the images and stuff, it really looks like this is a massive evolution of the Gaylord product that's there. And Mike, I can completely see why you're getting the top rates out of all the Gaylord properties. Could you give us a word or two, Mike, on the evolution itself and why you moved away from some of the things that have been associated with it, like those balconies that are facing indoors and the massive atrium and that sort of stuff?
Well, when we looked at designing this hotel and working with Marriott, we could not think of another brand that we could put on this. We didn't think one of our other Marriott brands would be successful as this particular brand, because you got to have that group availability, that group base, that huge convention space, but be able to turn into a resort on the weekends and when guests are needed from a transit piece. So you design the traffic flow where if you're coming down the elevator in the bathing suit, you're not crossing into the group area. The group area is separate. So when you look at the big Gaylords, like the Opryland, for example, Opryland has been added on to like 5 times. Right. And so it wasn't built to be what it is today, but it is.
Oh, no. But to be, you need to talk Gaylord Palms and that model.
The Palms and the Texan were basically the blueprint, and then the footprints began to get a little smaller because of the land space. So when we look at this building, we didn't have the place to put gigantic atriums. And we can open that lobby. All the glass opens to the outside. So when you walk into the lobby, you feel like you're outside. And so we've modified some of the massive spaces. But for the customer, this building they're going to really like because the footprint to walk from the front desk to the meeting space is way closer than any other big box hotel of this magnitude. And we put a ton of restaurant and bar seats. So that lobby on a given day could have 5,000-6,000 people in it, and will feel like it's not full, right?
What are the designers you use, Mike? What designers?
So the design firm was out of Dallas. What's their name again, Scott?
Looney. And
Looney did all the interiors for us, and we worked with Looney to do the Gaylord in the Gaylord Rockies as well.
Well, Mike was talking. We have 1,600 rooms. We have over 2,000 restaurant seats. So we have a lot of opportunities for people to grab and eat and drink. And we're going to do more food and beverage sales than we do in room sales here at this hotel.
I'm sure you are. There's no doubt about that. Particularly with the location, I can see a lot of people just coming in to eat and drink more so than other properties that might have. I can't see myself going to the Gaylord Palms specifically to have a drink because of just the way that whole area is set up.
Okay.
But
all I care about, if I was taking your job, Scott, all I would want to know is how big's my luggage room?
We have a couple of them, very big. Yeah, very big. Very great around experience.
And the second thing you need to worry about is his NOI.
Yeah, that's the first thing. That's another story, but that's the first thing.
Anytime I consult with an owner who's building a hotel, that's the first question I ask them. Where's the luggage room? And the second thing they say is, the first thing is, why do we need a luggage room?
Ira's really great because he listens to what the operator says, and he's built, him building the Gaylord Rockies from ground up and seeing what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah.
We applied some of those things. This is going to be one of the most efficient buildings ever built, and from an engineering standpoint, from from energy standpoint. There's going to be a whole lot of things that we do in California that we haven't done anywhere else that are going to really make this a very cost-effective building to drive a lot of profitability into both companies.
We could talk forever about the kitchens, Mike. They are so efficient. The bar space, we have actually purpose-built bars out on the outdoor part of the lobby. We have a massive production kitchen between our sports bar and a 3-meal restaurant that services both restaurants. There's a kitchen downstairs under the sports bar that services just the lawns. I mean, there's an elevator from Old Hickory that goes to a prep kitchen downstairs. It is so just efficient and operator friendly as well as guest friendly. When you walked in for the first time, realizing you may run the joint, doesn't that get you excited when you start seeing things actually put in the right place? And unbelievable. This is, Ira and team, they've opened so many of these big hotels. They feel they've got it about 98% right. And I agree. It's just every time I walk through, I just can't wait to get the guests in here and see this place hum. And it's really well designed, probably the best designed hotel I've ever seen.
You know what, Anthony, one of the things that Ira is very sensitive to, and I'll give you an example, is that he's very worried about traffic flow and how do the employees flow. And so right in the middle of the lobby, which you wouldn't even see because it has a big giant video screen on it and some planners around it and a bus station on one side, is an elevator that comes up right from underneath into the lobby. So you can take food and beverage through that elevator. You can take dirty dishes down there. So there's no one crossing traffic all over the lobby. It goes down underground into the areas that are below the lobby for efficiency and traffic wise. So a lot of things like that were thought about, and we've been working on this for a long time.
And those are the things that make the hotel run like butter, right? Like just right. Smooth silk. And when you have, when you're in an elevator in a beautiful hotel, and all of a sudden the back of the elevator opens and you see housekeeping, and I know sometimes you have no choice. Yeah. But it just takes away from that image that, this hotel is perfect, right? When you see the back of the house from a guest standpoint. So those are the things that, I think make a great hotel great.
Yeah, and Glenn, you were asking, what am I doing today? I got some of my friends from other hotels coming out. We're walking the linen rooms to see how we can design the most efficient linen rooms in the hotel, making sure that's all the kinds of things we're doing. What kind of shelter we put in.
And these are the things that get me so excited.
I love hearing about it because that's so cool that you get to be able to figure it out and create something that's going to make a lasting impact every single day.
Scott, you said something. Remind me. The second question is there a linen room on each floor? And the guest and the owner going, we need that.
Yeah, we have actually one on each side of each floor.
And we spent hours talking about garbage removal and garbage disposal and recycling and all that stuff. We spent a lot of time on those sorts of things.
We have a covered area on the back dock for trash, so it's enclosed, so it's not out for public display.
Who I don't know if I heard it on the last podcast, but somebody said if you don't want to read a trade magazine for your industry, you're in the wrong industry.
Yeah,
and I think Shane Green said that. And it's true.
Me quoting Mitch Patel of Vision Hospitality Group.
Oh, okay. So one of the things, that's right. One of the things I could sit and talk more about garbage disposal, linen, shoots, and housekeeping supplies than I can talk about anything. I enjoy that more than I do shoot my television show.
Yeah. The banquet dish room, how exciting is the banquet dish room that moving thousands of plates and glasses in and out of that place every single day.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. AI, how important or unimportant is AI to any back of the house elements? I'm sure we're not using it yet in the front of the house, but any back of the house elements.
Well, I can tell you from a hiring perspective, what will be in place by the time we open is, when it's in the past, you have to go online, go to a website, apply for a job, wait for a manager to screen and call you. We'll have a system where you go on your phone, you apply for a job, you'll have a recruiter, an AI recruiter screen you. You'll have an interview scheduled the next day, all pre-programmed in. So you'll be able to apply, have an interview the next day, probably hired within 48 hours, hopefully.
Wow. We'll talk in the green room.
Yeah.
And we're also doing, the way that Marriott does housekeeping now is very high tech. The way the rooms are broken out, and the way you find out when a room's empty and needs to be cleaned. There's a lot of efficiencies and systems that being used that really makes it more.
So there's a technology that when there's nobody in the room, a housekeeper doesn't have to go to look. They just somehow
Yeah. Many hotels have that now, Anthony. It's a lot of the new ones where there's actually a light comes up on the board downstairs and says, it's these people want their room cleaned early. These people checked out early. There's a process to do that so we can make it more efficient and whether we get how fast we get to those rooms.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, Scott, you were gonna say?
No, that's just when you talk about the strategy. I have a lot of food and beverage experience, a lot of GM experience. When I'm hiring my hotel manager, I'm hiring a rooms ninja, somebody that's come up through housekeeping, front office, somebody that really knows the front of the house well. So we have a really balanced team.
Okay, so this is a question that I'm going to ask everybody on this panel, and I want to lead it, but a person that runs a hotel like this, builds a hotel like this, develops a hotel like this, markets a hotel like this, could they run any business?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I always say that, we used to have a guy who worked for Marriott named Barry Cregan. He was in the casino business. And Barry told me once that he would hire a food and beverage person any day and put him into the casino business overnight because food and beverage people know how to make dollars out of nickels.
Mike, we have to talk in the green room, buddy. You just mentioned the name, buddy. We got to talk.
All right, guys, we got to wrap this up. But Scott, Mike, I'd love to have you guys come back at some point during the fall and continue to have this conversation, get another update. I'm finding it really fascinating that we've been following this story, Mike, since, the building started coming out of the ground.
And we'll be there for opening.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right in the lobby, we'll set it up.
Right.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, guys, I recommend that all of you out there check the weekly progress of what this incredible building is coming out. And we'll have you guys back soon enough. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you all.
Keep watching those jobs get posted.
A lot of good opportunities.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that too. Oh man, that was freaking awesome. So yeah, if you're listening to this broadcast, which you should be doing by following us wherever you get your podcasts, you're gonna want to watch us as well, because we got to see those great aerials and a lot of behind the scene renderings of what you can expect there. Of course, you can find that on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and all videos are housed in perpetuity at novacancynews.com. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on, and
be kind to yourself.
See you next time.